Today is December 6th, 2023. My name is Rob Carr of Kalamazoo Right to Life, and this is Pro-Life Week. The Democratic Party holds very strong positions, convictions. And this is just a random list. They support electric vehicles, part of that Green New Deal. But interestingly, even though they love electric cars, they despise Elon Musk, the owner of Tesla that makes electric cars. So why do they hate Elon Musk? Well, it's because he supports giving platform, like free speech platform, to people like Donald Trump. And for that reason alone, Elon Musk is a Nazi. Democrats oppose drilling for oil, but oil prices have gone up, and some people are paying through the nose, and people's budgets have been tightened because of inflation. I think I read or heard last week that the average American family really needs to increase their family income by $11,000 just to break even with the price of food and gas and electric and rent or housing, mortgage rates. $11,000 more in their family income just to break even. Well, for a lot of voters, a lot of American voters, that could be a game changer in the election. What was it? James Carville said back in 1992, "It's the economy, stupid." People generally vote their pocketbooks. Well, not always, but that has been past practice. So if all of a sudden the Democrats really see they're losing ground with voters because of the economy, they'll moderate, they'll change their tune on some of these issues. Even on oil, Biden has kind of compromised, and they're opening up to new oil drilling and oil reserves. Democrats support illegal immigration. They claim the border is closed, but let's face it, the border is not closed. But when some Democratic mayors have complained that the number of migrants flooding their cities will crush forget that an airplane flying overhead. This is not O'Hare Airport area. Migrants flooding their cities will crush social services, housing, schools, welfare, food, clothing. I think the mayor of New York City said it'll destroy their budget. They'll have to cut services by like $3 billion just to make room for all these illegal people coming to their cities. If all of a sudden this is now becoming a big issue for Democrats, and Biden and his administration is now looking at trying to fix the southern border. Well, how about that? It's only when Democratic mayors have complained that he decides that maybe we need to look at this a little more closely. The Democrats support Israel, to their credit, in its war against Hamas. But as we've all seen, college students and even high school students all over the country and the world have been demonstrating in favor of Hamas, and very anti-Semitic comments and slogans, and to the river, to the sea, that kind of thing, very anti-Jewish. If the Biden people begin to see that, we are losing 40% of the youth vote because they support the Palestinians and Hamas and not Israel. If they're going to lose those voters, you'll see the Biden people put more and more pressure on Israel to have a ceasefire, to stop going into Gaza, to end this war. I mean, it's going to happen. They're going to do it. But there are some issues the Democrats will not compromise or waver on. And I'm only picking three, and there may be more, but these are the ones that I really see as non-negotiable issues. Transgender rights, period. In sports, for minors, in surgeries, keeping parents in the dark, transgender, they're all in for transgender rights. The LGBT agenda, inappropriate, pornographic, or sexually explicit books in elementary schools, drag shows. Again, Democrats are all in on protecting and defending the gay lesbian agenda. But most of all, the top of the list, the pinnacle of Democratic orthodoxy, or to put it another way, the cornerstone, the foundation, the building block of the Democratic Party is abortion rights. There is no compromise, no wavering when it comes to abortion. There was a time back in the mid-1990s when there were 125 pro-life Democrats in Congress. That might have been House and Senate. And these were people who actually were endorsed by Right to Life organizations all across the country, 125 of them. Today, there really is only one left. Henry Cuellar, a Texas Democrat, who is pro-life. He's the only one left. And for the last 2 or 3 election cycles, Democrats have run a pro-abortion challenger to get him out of the picture. And to his credit, he has been successful in keeping his House seat. You'll say, well, gee, there's Bob Casey of Pennsylvania. He's a pro-life Democrat. Is he really? I mean, he supports Planned Parenthood. He publicly came out and opposed the Dobbs decision that overturned Roe v. Wade. I mean, he has been, at best, a very, very weak pro-life Democrat. I mean, Joe Manchin of West Virginia is probably more pro-life than Bob Casey. And even Manchin is he's not 100% with us. So are there Democrats, pro-life Democrats in the Senate? Not really. And there's only one in the House. So, on the national level, they are rock solid abortion rights. Across the board, state and federal judges who are Democrats, state or national lawmakers, Democratic governors, our dear president, his entire cabinet, his entire administration, pro-abortion. I mean, I think back to 1976. Jimmy Carter wins the presidency, and he picks for a member of his cabinet a man named Joseph Califano, who was a pro-life Democrat. And I'm trying to remember what department he held. I think it was like the Department of Health and Human Services. Might have had a different name back then, but I think that was his department. But he was pro-life, and he was in favor of the Hyde Amendment. Well, good grief. The Hyde Amendment is totally opposed by Biden and rank-and-file Democrats. I mean, I can't think of hardly anybody, maybe except for that lady in Detroit, Karen Whitsett, who voted pro-life on 2 of those bills for the Reproductive Health Act. The Hyde Amendment bans federal funding for abortions. And in Michigan, we still have the law that prohibits taxpayer dollars to go to fund welfare abortions. But other than her, how many Democrats do you know support the Hyde Amendment? Maybe Henry Cuellar is about it. But can you think of one other pro-life law other than maybe that Democrats support? Partial birth abortion, parental consent, waiting periods, clinic inspections, informed consent, taxpayer funding, like I said, on abortion. In every case, Democrats affirm the pro-abortion position. Now, I'm with Kalamazoo Right to Life. I'm connected with Van Buren County Right to Life. We would love to see Right to Life in Michigan endorse pro-life Democrats. And in some cases, Right to Life in Michigan PAC has endorsed pro-life candidates. But in general, for the most part, it has been really, really hard for Right to Life in Michigan to find pro-life Democrats to support. We'd love to support them. Our organization is not we're not a wing of the Republican Party. We are bipartisan. We are. And we would love to embrace a Democrat who is pro-life, but man, where are they? Where are they? At the national level, they're an endangered species. Although, if you had an animal that was, going to become extinct, the government would step in to protect that animal from becoming extinct. Not so with abortion and pro-life Democrats. The National Democratic Party, they want to see pro-life Democrats become extinct. They do not want to see pro-lifers in their party. They do not. Okay, let me just kind of turn a corner here. Some news. Yesterday in Wisconsin, a state judge ruled that the state's 1849 pro-life law that took effect immediately after the Dobbs decision. It was one of those trigger laws that was on the books, but it couldn't be enforced during the Roe v. Wade years. But when Roe is gone, the law took effect again. And a state judge now said, no, that law is unconstitutional. And now Planned Parenthood can resume performing abortions in Wisconsin. This is bad news. Since the Dobbs decision, 100 pro-life offices or buildings have been vandalized, and 218 churches have been as well. How many of these criminals have been arrested or even charged? Maybe one or two. Yesterday, the Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights testified before a House committee. She was asked about the FACE Act. Since the act was signed by Bill Clinton in 1994, she was asked, how many pro-lifers have been charged or for violating the act? 126. So since 1994, 126 pro-lifers have been charged and prosecuted. Not to say they were all convicted, but prosecuted for violating the FACE Act. And it talks about freedom of access to clinics, which also includes pregnancy care centers. They're a clinic of a sort, and the law would protect them too. So if a pro-abortion group vandalized a pregnancy care center, well, they're in violation of the FACE Act too. So 126 pro-lifers have been prosecuted since 1994. So how many pro-abortion activists have been prosecuted for vandalizing either churches or pregnancy care centers since 1994? 4. 126 to 4. And this lady, this gal from the Department of Attorney General for Civil Rights said that her department, what does she say, provides equal treatment. 126 to 4. Equal treatment? That's a laugh. Okay, I'll close on a good note, a great note, I should say. Since the Dobbs decision, 65 abortion clinics nationwide, 65 abortion clinics have closed. That's exciting news. Babies' lives are being saved all over the country. And to that I say, praise the Lord. With that, I'll let you go. I will see you next time.